Hi guys, and this time I'd like to present this, the Babylon 5 Security Manual, which came out in 1997 from Channel 4 Books and Boxtree, although for some reason they're only mentioned on the spine and the back of the book, rather than the cover. Now this is a technical manual type thing, but for Babylon 5, as is fairly obvious from its title. Now this has a lot of interesting stuff in it, and it's a very colourful book compared to a number of the other technical manuals I've looked at. There's nice colour plates in here, especially set pictures when there's not people around. Not just images from the show, but obviously when they were dressing the set before episodes, they took some very high quality pictures of empty rooms, and they used them within, and it looks first class. But the problem with the book is it's written while the show was on the air. And Babylon 5 was very much a show where things would change from episode to episode. And this book finds itself giving out pieces of information which are contradicting other pieces of information for where you are in the timeline. For example, it's supposed to be written in universe by the security chief Michael Garibaldi. But where we are in the timeline at the end of season 4 going on to season 5, he's not the security chief anymore. He's becoming security chief of the Interstellar Alliance. Now, while I'm sure he knew the most about security on Babylon 5, why has he got time to write a manual about it? But that's a minor thing. We've got other things about talking about the uniforms the command staff use. Well, they have been given Minbari uniforms when they broke away from Earth, so that places it after sort of the midpoint of season 3. But then it talks about the Narn regime breaking away from the Centauri. Well, that puts us at the end of season 4, when the station is about to be handed back to the Earth Alliance, so the command uniforms should be Earth Alliance ones, not the Minbari ones they were given. It talks about Commander Sheridan being in charge of the station. But at season 5, he hands it over to Commander Lockley. So it's all a bit muddy as to where in the timeline it is, because we've got information changing episode by episode, probably while they wrote the book. There's also information in here which viewers know, because we saw it in episodes, but characters within the universe wouldn't know. There's information about the Shadows, about Mr. Morton, etc., which I don't think would be public knowledge and wouldn't be getting put out in a security manual. But anyway, it's got lots of information in here, so it's a pretty good book on that. It's just not written terribly well in universe. The other thing is, for a book which has such lovely colour plates inside, the cover is a bit bland. I know they're trying to look like an ordinary security manual, perhaps on embossed metal, and the security manual part in here is actually embossed. I don't know whether you can see the indents on the back of the page. But it's just plain grey. It's a bit boring. Now that does make it very reflective, because you can see my camera here and you can make me out at the bottom here reflecting quite nicely. But it would be nice to have a lovely image of the station. The space scenes in Babylon 5 were so colourful that losing that for a boring grey cover seems a big loss. But anyway, I've been wittering on for ages and we haven't even looked at the back cover. So, welcome to Babylon 5. In less than 4 years, Babylon 5 has been the site of a virulent plague and a target for terrorists and mind-killers. More recently, they have seceded from the Earth Alliance, led a war against 2 ancient alien species, and been slapped with a multi-billion credit lawsuit involving the merchandising of a major ambassadorial figure. Why? Because you and I were not doing our job properly. That's going to change. Ladies and gentlemen of Babylon 5 Security Corps, this manual will tell you how to get your job done. Within these pages, you will find vital security information, including technical data, station layout, the chain of command, information about the Home Guard, Night Watch, and Shadow governments. You will learn ambassadorial, civilian, military, terrestrial, and non-terrestrial security protocols. You'll be told how to shoot, when to shoot, who to shoot, when to shout, when to whisper, and when to take a bribe and what to do with it. Your job, should you choose to accept it, is to preserve life, maintain the peace, and live long enough to draw your pension. With this manual, your phased plasma gun, and your wits about you, you've got a fighting chance of doing all three. Lose any of the above, and you can book your holiday suite in MedLab right now. I guarantee it'll be a long stay. Michael Garibaldi, Chief Warrant Officer, Babylon 5. And inside, well, we've got some Background images of the White Star, but we'll come to proper images of that. Different types of Star Fury, a contents page, and then we're into what is Babylon 5? Who lives and works here? Witty pep talk. And then we're on to general information. So about the station itself. What is it? What's its history? Who have been the commanders of it? Some technical information about where it is, how big it is, how many people are aboard, what's its purpose, the station layout. Now, while these diagrams are lovely and they're labelled, there's even more detailed label one on the next page, where we've got things like the multi-environment alien sector. We don't really go into any of that information. It'd be nice to know what's the procedures, what do they use airlocks? How do they deal with multi-environments in the alien sector? We've seen it in episodes, but it just really isn't dealt with in this book. And continuing through, we break down the station sector by sector. Basically, the station is split up into sectors going down it, so you can tell how far down the station you are. So we've got red sector, we've got grey sector, green sector. Docking bays. These big docking prongs at the front and the hangar bay at the front. Potential clients, so different types of ships which might arrive. And while we've got some images here and labels, it doesn't really go into that much. The Cobra bays, so the fighter bays, which are the bars around the station, where ships are, or fighters are launched by centrifugal force. The garden, the large area on the inside of the station. Down below, the sort of unused areas of the station which criminals have taken up residence in, undesirables. And then we're onto communication systems, so the little links which adhere to the back of people's hands, the comm links, and the different communication channels. Now, one of the things I find slightly amusing is Babcom talks here about carrying 1,000 communication and educational channels. Well, Babylon 5 itself was very progressive in using the internet to publicize itself, but even it thought you would still be carrying broadcast channels. You wouldn't be streaming everything over an internet. Data crystals and credit chips, showing down how they're broken down and what circuitries inside to stop them being forged. Then we're on to communications, freight and cargo. So we've got different types of shuttle and the guilds, so the Dockers Guild and the Rush Act. It uses a lot of information from episodes. Command and control section right at the front of the station. Information on the post office, including a list of the post office is closed for the following festivals, which basically labels every day of the year. What's slightly amusing is it also includes February 29th, the post office celebration of work day. Now, I haven't checked to make sure it is absolutely every day, but you can see there's a lot there. I believe they're making the joke that the post office is never open. Then we're on to the security section. A brief history of Earth Force and Babylon 5, including the command structure and the command structure leading to the station. How we got here with different history, including future history. Rules and regulations. So the different laws, how crime and punishment's handled. Non-terrestrial crime, including, as I said, there's a few in-jokes in this book, including the Babylon 5 Bears and Associated Merchandise, which was very much an in-joke in the series as well. We've got the uniforms, showing off the Minbari redesign of the uniforms, which happened halfway through the series. But it doesn't even stay consistent with that, because we've got pictures of Commander Sheridan here wearing his Earth Force uniform, but Franklin and Ivanova are both wearing their updated uniforms. Security Central, and it mentions Mr. Morden. But then we're on to more interesting information about how the PPGs work, the different type of rifles and settings you can get on them, riot gear and shock sticks, and what holding cells there are, the identity cards to unlock doors and identify yourselves, I suppose. Accident and emergency, including medlab information. Disease risks and prevention. Going through dangerous species. Toilet facilities. How would you handle toilets for various species with different needs? Terrorism. Different groups which cropped up in the series doing terrorist actions. The ambassadorial protection and security procedure. So we've got detail how they handle assassination attempts, diplomatic immunity. But then we're on to Night Watch. Why the book would be bothering to detail much about Night Watch when the organization's gone at this point in history. It mentioned that they've sort of rebelled against Earth, so Night Watch has been pretty much removed. Talking about how riots are handled. Procedure in the event of invasion. Obviously that's a major part in the middle point of Season 3 when Babylon 5 breaks away from the Earth Alliance. So we've got different vessels which were involved in that battle, including the repair drones. Then we've got Star Furies, the atmospheric bomber variant. The more conventional space version. Very cool vessels. The different Star Fury squadrons and how the defense grid works on board the station. An overview of the local powers, so the Earth colonies, the Minbari, the Centauri, the Narn, the Vorlons, the Shadows. Got different sectors here, including another in-joke, Sector 42, the home of the Adams, so referencing Douglas Adams and the answer to life, the universe, and everything in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Jump gates and vortex generators, how the jump gates work and the physical implementation of them. Then we talk through the Earth Alliance and Earth Force. The Minbari Federation. Now this is where the book really doesn't come across great, because we've got the Centauri Republic, and all the information we've got, just those few short paragraphs. The Narn regime, a massive part. They've got religion in their culture, they've been controlled by the Centauri, they rebel, they support Babylon 5 and all that, and Narns themselves work as the security on Babylon 5 for quite a while, but we get 2 paragraphs and that's it. The Vorlon Empire. Well, they're sort of gone, they've been driven away. At this point, it mentions that Babylon 5 has fought against 2 ancient alien empires. Well, the Vorlons and the Shadows both left at the end of that, so why would you need information about them? Especially information which talks in the current tense instead of past tense. The non-aligned worlds. Again, there's loads of different species and loads of interesting stuff you could have put in here. But we get 2 very short paragraphs which doesn't even list all of the species in the non-aligned worlds, which I would have thought would have been pretty easy. Raiders. Get almost as much information on them as we do the non-aligned worlds, and I think they only feature in 2 episodes. The Shadows. Some very nice diagrams of shadow ships. Lovely colour plates. Get information on some other ships, Dral and the Great Machine. Although why it says classified for Great Machine when it mentions it in the next 3 words. We've got the White Stars. Lovely diagrams and pictures of those. Talking about Psychor. The Psychor ratings. Rogue telepaths. Telepathic headgear. The Psychops, including Mr. Bester, played by the wonderful Walter Koenig. The Psychor Fighter Squadron, Black Omega Squadron. Various black operations which went on, different bureaus who operated in various episodes of the show. More information about the Night Watch, including their documentation. We've got security codes and information things which you could probably use in a role-playing game. You know, receiving a 4109 virus alert. We've got scheduling documents training, including some nice forms, because doesn't everybody love forms? We've got a list of various crimes that people on the station were accused of, going through different episodes. Some of these are major parts of episodes, but I find this a bit odd. You know, John Sheridan, victim all of sentient life, charged destruction of, accused by the Shadow government via human representatives. As if the Shadows were filing complaints about John Sheridan to the security department of Babylon 5. Seems completely ridiculous. And then we've got some information about all the major characters. So we've got Sheridan, Ivanova, Zack Allen, Stephen Franklin, Michael Garibaldi, Londo Malari, Citizen Jakar, Ambassador Len Viacoto Linnea Psychop Bester. A point that it makes the still Citizen Jakar, even though by this point he's risen to more power, showing how much the storylines were in flux while they were writing this. We've got acknowledgements, including acknowledgement of HM government's forms on making things look detailed, and a nice image of the Babylon 5 sword and shield. Now this is a quite interesting book. It's full of loads of information, but I wouldn't consider it as well researched as something like the Next Generation Technical Manual. It's more of a coffee table book than a source of information. It's nice to flick through. But anyway, I think I've whittled on for quite long enough. It's quite a nice thing to have. I'm glad I picked it up, but I couldn't really recommend anybody rushing out to buy one. But anyway, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.